I'm so excited to be here. I came 25 hours to reach you here at this World Esports Championship to bring this amazing practice that I've been doing for longer than most of you have been alive. And I think that yoga and meditation, it can seem really daunting, it can seem really esoteric, it can seem like the question I get most often is, what does this have to do with gaming? But if you look at all of the research on meditation, on mindfulness, it's recommended to improve virtually everything, including being better at your game. Just as Hadi said in the video, he doesn't second guess himself anymore. He feels more confident. He feels more at ease. He doesn't have the anxiety that always plagued him all the time. So imagine if you get up, you feel confident, you go to your game, you sit down, maybe you're stressed out, but you know you're gonna do your best. Things aren't gonna get in your way that make you choke or freeze or tilt because things are flowing, okay? Make just soft fists with your hands. I'm only gonna do one because I have to hold the microphone. And then when you breathe in, let your hand open, like you're allowing the breath to come in. And when you breathe out, just close your hand. It gives you a little bit more to pay attention to, all right? Close your eyes because a great percentage of our distraction comes through our eyes. So we're gonna take that distraction away. And then just begin to watch your inhale and your exhale. As you breathe in, open your hands. As you breathe out, close your hands. And then just continue, and every time you get distracted, it's okay. That's what happens. Just come back and start watching your breath. And the next time that you breathe out, your hands going to close, open your hand, gently open your eyes, come back into this beautiful location where we all are. Whose mind wandered? Who's lying? Whose mind didn't wander? Amazing. Was it easy because you were using your hand to keep track of? Yeah, cool. So that's a nice trick, right? It's a hack. Yeah? Cool. All right. How did that feel? Anybody? I'm gonna give Mike the mic so he can go see how somebody felt.
Hello everyone. It actually felt good because I was actually like very focused on the breathing and the hand as well. The hand was much easier. Like I do meditation usually, it's not as easy as now. Also, you feel like you left the actual area where we're in now. I was actually in somewhere else, and it felt amazing, honestly.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that.
Hello, it's my first time, and I feel like I'm disconnected from this world, like 10 seconds. It's amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So the one thing that I wanted to, like a nuance I want to add is sometimes when we meditate, there is this experience that our friends are describing that you feel a little bit out of things. So when you're going to actually do a game, you want to make sure that you're like ready to game afterwards. So it's useful if you find when you meditate, you do get kind of spacey, right? That you do something grounding afterwards. One of the easiest things to do to ground is to do something physical. So we're doing physical activities all week long. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be teaching yoga on the sand right over here, and doing a couple of yoga poses, like a squatting pose, something that puts you in your legs, can help you to come back into the present moment before you sit down at the console or sit down at your keyboard. Okay?
What games do you guys play? Like Dota? eFootball? All of you? CSGO? Let's go. What do you guys play? Dota or You CSGO. Told you it's the best game. These guys don't trust me. They're just little legends. Anything else? Any PUBG mobile players? Tekken. I like it. That's old school. My last Tekken was Tekken 3. So PS1. PS1. Thank you for that. Very good. Very good. So what Peter said for kind of before the game, and then he finished about saying like during the game. I'm more important apparently, no? So you know when you, especially for CSGO, right? Like, because you have rounds, right? So it's always a reset, And you start like tilting or you start thinking and you're like, right? For if you're playing Tekken, you also have rounds, right? And then you have another match, you change characters, right? If you play any other game, if you play MOBAs, it's quite continuous, but there's different stages, right? You have different tasks, there's so much to do, right? You have to like farm, creep, deny, yada yada. So like there's, all these games have stages, okay? So especially when you get to these positions where you're like thinking, right? Or feeling, or like, especially when you get emotional, right? Not necessarily always, it's not always negative tilt, okay? Sometimes you can get overhyped. Like classic CSGO, right? Like what's the law? The one law? You don't know? Come on. Zonic's law? Zonic's law, yeah, exactly. For those who, what's the scores for Zonic's law? 12-4. 11-4. So like 11-4 rounds, then you think you have won the game, but you probably haven't won the game. And you're like, yeah, we're completely crushing them, they're noobs, they can't like... So like, this happens all the time, not just in games, this happens in life as well. Like you have highs, you have lows, you have everything in between, right? And the thing is that when you have especially the highs and the lows, you feel either super pumped, you're like 11-4, or if it's super low, if it's 4-11. But when you feel these things, when you're angry, frustrated, excited, whatever it is, it actually, before you feel it, what happens on the very bottom, it's like a bottom-up process, is your body has already reacted. You already had like shivers a little bit, or you start feeling cold, or like your blood starts flowing and your body temperature goes up, and you start feeling. The next step is that feeling. Like first it's just an emotion. Your body puts energy in motion, okay? Energy in motion comes from your body. Your body and your brain is one thing. Like brain is part of your body. Yeah, the mind, like where we have our concepts as humans, that's a different thing. Okay, that's okay. But that's the same thing. So emotion happens first, your body knows before you know, and then you feel it. Then you're angry. Then you tilt it. Then you start thinking, bloody hell, my opera is so bad today. Or I don't know, someone bought an MP5, okay, in a round where you didn't want to buy an MP5, whatever it is. So then you have a thought. So you have an emotion, a feeling, and then a thought. They start thinking about it. Oh yeah, we're winning 11-4, no worries. No problem. And then comes an action in the real world. So some of this bottom could be even called for people, depending on how you feel about that area, almost spiritual, but also coming from the body. But then at the top, it's an action. And it's a result of your feeling, of your emotions, feeling, and thoughts. And the cool thing about meditation is, I'm gonna give you something, sorry, just to finish up my part, he knows that much better. But in game, as well as in life, is you can hijack every single step. You can like freeze dry, you can like literally stop when there's a problem occurring. So when you have those highs and those lows, you can mellow that out a little bit before you do something, before you start playing overreactive. Yeah, if you have an entry fragger and he's so pumped 11-4 and he goes all the way, buys a magnet, or goes on with double Berettas, because why not? You can stop that from happening. That player themselves can do that, right? The same for Tekken would be the same. If you're feeling like 2-0 in a match, or how many rounds, I don't know, it used to be 3, right? 3, yeah. And you feel great, you might overextend, right? You might a little bit less on the defenses. And it's the same thing. You can stop that because you can realize that you have this feeling. Because you're more mindful, right? The whole title of this was mindful. You're more mindful if you practice that. And there is little tweaks like that, especially CSGO and Tekken. eFootball will be a little bit hard. I'm not sure how the pauses are nowadays, if you can pause. But you have rounds. Yeah. In the MOBAs, you do die at some point, okay? You do die. So it's a little bit of a break as well. When you have a break, you can use this. You can use even the small hand meditation, even for like 10 seconds, right? You fought amazing for 10 seconds. 10 seconds, that's enough, right? You buy quickly, you position yourself 10 seconds, and just breathe. And then you can realize, oh, I actually just feel like angry because we're losing. And I just tilted at my teammate. No point. Useless information. The comms were not good, right? And then reset that. So you can kind of stop that process with this little tool. And another one that's very good, besides, for example, this little one example we had, meditation, is breathing.
Breathing. Thank you, Marcin. That was amazing. The breathing is this connection that we have between our emotions and our body. We can do it. We have the ability. It happens all by itself. We get excited. We breathe really shallow. When we're calm, we breathe really deep. But we can adjust our own feelings by breathing intentionally a certain way. One of the easiest ways to change the way that you feel in a moment of anxiety, or in a moment when you're scared, or maybe you're anxious that, oh my God, what's going to happen? To get out of this place, I mentioned the flow state a bit ago. One of the conditions of the flow state is not to be attached to what's going to happen, because then you get caught in the future instead of being in the present. And in your game, that means you're not paying attention to what's happening now. You're off somewhere else, right? When we can calm down, then we're settling into this moment. One of the ways to shift your nervous system and get into that calm state is to breathe. And the easiest breath for calming down is to breathe out for longer than you breathe in. So let's do that right now. Just take a couple of breaths that way. Breathe in, count how many counts it takes you to breathe in, and breathe out twice as much. I'm going to do it with us. I'll give us a count. If you can't match this count, that's okay. So breathe in, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just let your breath balance. When you're breathing, never make yourself breathe too in ways that are weird. If you feel like you're gasping or something, just stop, let it settle, then try a different number, okay? So let's try that again. Breathe in, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Repeat. Breathe in, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just let your breath go on its own. So you can use that technique. Again, like Marcin said, how long did that take? 10 seconds, right? Doesn't take long at all to just do a reset when you need it. If you're about to sit down on a match, you can breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. You can breathe in through your nose, out through your nose. Okay?
It felt like I was focused the whole time. I don't know, trying to do meditation before. It takes a lot of time, but it's very helpful. I'm listening to some very high quality podcasts from Andrew Huberman, I don't know if you know, and it's really useful in every single way.
You're a better player.
Yeah, so it felt amazing for me as well. And I guess, but it's really helpful, and you can control your mind, everything. That's it.
Yeah,
Thank
like
you.
it's really, you said it takes a long time because a lot of the general practice out there is, okay, you have to sit down, prepare, but we like to work with gamers as gamers. So you can sit on your chair with your team by yourself, doesn't matter. And yeah, 1 minute, CS is such a good game actually for it because of the breaks between rounds and then because of the turnaround and between the breaks between maps.
Once you've found some of the tools that work for you in the way that you want to do them, you can figure out as an individual or as a team or with your coach what you want to do before the match. So all we did was just a little bit of bouncing. So we got a little bit physical, and I asked the team to close their eyes as they just did a little bit of bouncing, right? Increase the blood flow, maybe get the heart rate up a little bit, shrug the shoulders, relax the jaw, and then pause and take a big breath in. And as you take that breath in, open your hands, pause, exhale and squeeze the hands together. And back to bouncing again. We're going to do this 2 more times where you're just bouncing back and forth. You can keep your eyes closed. You can vocalize this by having air go across your vocal cords. It sounds like this. Pause. Take a breath in as you open up your hands. Squeeze your hands together and exhale. And let's do this 1 more time. Eyes closed, bouncing a little bit. Again, circulating blood, not just to the muscles in your legs and hips and arms and shoulders, but blood flow coming into the brain. Pause. Inhale as you open up your hands. And exhale as you squeeze your hands together. And in all likelihood, you weren't necessarily thinking about going to dinner to get something to eat, or when it's going to end, or about your game, right? You're thinking about nothing at all, and perhaps that's the idea. And maybe you don't like the bouncing. Maybe you don't like closing your eyes before the match. But again, you're going to make this your own. You're going to take these tools, figure out what works for you, and explore this on your own.
Great. So that brings us to the end of our time. We've mentioned our FITGMR app a bunch of times. The FITGMR app is a way that helps you to keep track of your own progress in the 5 pillars of health.